Let's get back to that bombshell report that shocked the country today. A leaked draft suggests the Supreme Court will overturn Roe v. Wade, the abortion rights ruling that has stood for half a century.
Yes, the draft was leaked late last night, leading to many questions about what happens now. Tia is getting an expert's take on this. Tia?
Yeah, this would be the biggest change to abortion in nearly 50 years. And joining me now is Professor Stephen Maynard Caliendo from North Central College. Thank you, as always, for being here when it's time to talk about these really important issues.
You got it, Tia. Good to see you.
Let's get right into it. What happens and what are the implications across the country if Roe v. Wade is overturned?
Well, there's a couple things to keep in mind. One, of course, is that it's a leaked draft of a decision. It's not the decision. We don't have a decision yet, and so there's time. It was a leaked draft, and that's probably something we should talk about as well. But we also need to remember, the second thing we need to remember is that the Roe decision didn't legalize abortion. And know that that's how we talk about it in shorthand. But essentially, it's the reverse. You have to think about it in the reverse. What the Roe decision said is that because there's a fundamental right to privacy in the Constitution that was discovered and decided in the 10 years leading up to the Roe decision, women have the right to decide to carry a pregnancy to term or not, so long as it happens within a certain period of the gestation, a certain period of the pregnancy. And so what the court said is states may not interfere with the woman's right to do that in that period. Right. So if this is overturned, if Roe is overturned, it doesn't mean that abortions are illegal across the country. It means that the court has not found any longer constitutional protection for a woman's right to decide whether or not to carry or to terminate her pregnancy within that period of gestation.
Okay, now based off of what you just said, what does that mean for states like Illinois, though, that overall take a pro-choice stance?
That's right. In the short term, it means that states who wish to ban abortions or regulate them more than every state regulates the abortion procedure at this point at some level of gestation, but and there are different circumstances. But states who wish to do it may do that, whereas now they may not do that. A state like Illinois, who doesn't have heavy regulations and doesn't have a desire to stop the abortion procedure at all, will not do so. And so abortions will still be safe and legal in states like Illinois, at least for the time being. The question, though, then becomes, what if you get a Congress, a president who wants to pass a law, a federal law that makes abortion illegal across the nation? Then it's up to the court to decide whether or not that particular law, that federal law, is constitutional. Can't have state laws that conflict with federal law or you have trouble. So in the short term, it doesn't mean anything immediately for Illinois residents if it holds. But in the longer term, we're going to have a longer conversation about it.
Now let's talk about that longer term conversation in some respects, because we do know there are states out there that have been looking to challenge Roe versus Wade. Out of about 50 states, 26 are likely to completely ban or restrict abortions. That's really based off of the political landscape right now. What's the danger of overturning Roe versus Wade?
The danger is that the women who live in those states are not going to have access locally to safe legal procedures to terminate a pregnancy, of course. One of the less talked about issues in the original Roe case in 1973 was the equal protection part of the 14th Amendment. And that is not the due process part, but the part that said all women aren't treated equally under a system that allows some states to ban the procedure and other states to allow it to be legal. Wealthy women in those days were able to travel from a state who didn't allow it to a state who did allow it to procure a safe legal abortion. If we have a state-by-state approach, it's going to be poorer women in the states that prohibit the procedure that are going to be in the most danger.
All right, Professor Stephen Maynard Caliendo, it's always a pleasure to have you here on First at 4. I'm sure this is an issue that we'll be talking about again. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Tia.
All right, Anthony and Sally, I'll send it back to you.